Hey, welcome back to my table. My name is Daniel Stombaugh. I'm just a guy who's identified how loved and adored I am by God. It's my passion and my purpose in life to help everyone I meet understand their place of value to God, to His kingdom, and their place within His heart. God used the Song of Solomon to teach me this, and so I get the privilege of teaching you from the Song of Solomon how you can know where you stand in the heart of God. God let me write a book called Solomon's Song. It's a 90-day journey. It takes the Song of Solomon in all 8 chapters, 118 or 120 verses, and it breaks it down into 90 personal love letters from God. And it's designed by the end of the 90th day for you to have a stack of mail, correspondence, love letters from God, Him from you, and then a place for you to write those back. And God used that system to help me understand where I stood, and that set me free. And so I want to talk to you about it today. So we're on day number 32 of the devotional, if you're going through that. And incidentally, people have been asking, I'm actually going through, this is what I'm teaching from. It's a Solomon Song discipleship guide, and it breaks down all the things that we're talking about today, and it puts those down, and you can get that at Amazon or at danielstombaugh.com. So we're on day number 32, Song of Solomon chapter 3 and verse number 5. Now, just to jump back, she went looking for the king a couple videos back. She went searching for him, and we talked about all the different allegories and the messages of those particular passages, and she finds him. Like, she finds him. When she finds him, she finds him. And if you remember last time, she says, I found him whom my soul loves. Like, I didn't just find, hey, Harry. She said, I found him. I found my man, is what she said. I found him whom my soul loves. She said, I decided I would never let him go. She's like, I held him. And we're going to find out right now as we read this passage what happened, because she held him. And then the longer that she held him, the more she realized she didn't want to let go. And then he was like, I'm not letting you go. And I'm going to hold you back. And she's holding him, and he's holding her, and then the holding started to get a little bit more intense. And before long, it's, let's Marvin Gaye and get it on. I mean, they just went, we're going to find out, because what we're looking at right now in the verse is the morning after. So the lights went dark, the fireworks went off in the background, or the candles snuffed out, or whatever that we want to do for that to set the scene, to say this is what took place. Something happened. It went down because one minute she's holding him, never letting him go, and the next minute we're going to find out she's awake and he's asleep. So something happened. And it's awesome. Song of Solomon chapter 3, verse number 5. And remember this, that Song of Solomon deals with the cycle of relationship of communication, expression, and rest. Communication, expression, and rest. And it kind of goes through. She communicated her desire to find him, and then she expressed her delight at finding him, and she expressed that physically. And then you have this point in time where they're resting. And we're going to find him do that. He communicates to her, and then they express it, and then she rests in that, meditates. And each time that you have that communication, expression, and rest is complete, the relationship becomes stronger and more defined and more transparently clear in where it's going as a whole. And that's how God designed us to be with Him, to communicate, express, and rest. To communicate, He said, for God so loved the world. He communicated, I so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. And He said, that's the expression of my love. I don't just stop right there and say, I love you. I'm going to find a way to show you, demonstrate my love. And He did that through the cross of Christ on the Calvary. And so He said, that's the expression. And the resting is that meditation. The work is finished. It is finished. Now rest in the fact of the finished work of the cross. Rest in this relationship. And let's just keep this cycle going. Let's just keep this ball rolling where we're going. So Song of Solomon 3:5, she wakes up and he's asleep. And man, she looks over at him, and she's watching his chest rise and fall, and he's completely out of it. And she's happy. She's happy because she was the last face that he saw before he drifted off into sleep. She's happy because her voice was the last thing that he heard in his ear before he went to sleep. She's happy because she was the last person that he was speaking to. She's happy because she was the last person that he told, I love you, before he left consciousness. It was her. You know, as she watched him sleeping, she watched him just peaceful and dreaming, and she was thinking about all the times that she really, really wanted to find someone like Solomon. And I don't think it had anything to do with the wealth. I don't think it had anything to do with the power, because if you know their story, then you'll know that when she met him, she did not know he was a king. She thought he was a shepherd boy himself. And she fell in love with him for who he was, outside of what he could give her. And it completely took her off guard when he came to claim her as his bride with the royal carriage. That took her off. We're going to find that later on. And so she's looking at him, and all of her life she fantasized about this kind of relationship. She fantasized about being spoken to the way that he spoke to her. She fantasized about being touched the way that he touched her. She fantasized about and imagined what it would be like to be in a relationship with someone who made her feel the way that Solomon made her feel. She thought about all of these things as he was sleeping, and something happened within her. It stirred her to do something. She did something that was probably extremely rare for her, but becomes more and more common for her. She gives a command. I know, right? She gives this command, and what makes this so amazing is that this is the same shepherd girl in chapter 1 that was saying, don't look at me, keep the lights off, don't look at me, I don't belong here, don't look at me, George. She's doing the Seinfeld, oh, why are you looking at me, I don't belong. She was really upset in chapter 1. In chapter 2, she was even timid. Chapter 3, she was vacillating here, and now she's giving commands. She says this, I charge you. Charge is not a suggestion. If you got time, don't be waking up the king. No, I charge you, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, by the roes and by the hinds of the field, that ye stir not up, nor awake my love, till he please. You let him sleep. The ultimate test of any relationship is there rest here? Is there rest in this thing, or am I constantly at my wit's end? Is there rest here? And she was like, he's sleeping, and I determined that when he opens his eyes and welcomes life back into the world, he's going to see me. And I'm going to determine that when the first voice he's going to hear on his ears is my voice. And I want to determine the very first person that's going to speak to him is me. The first thing he's going to smell is my perfume. The very first thing that he's going to be aware of is my body. I'm very determined, she said, that he is going to be very much aware that I am the person in his life when he wakes up. She spent all of her life looking for this kind of love, and she was determined to spend the rest of her life protecting it. True love is determined by the lengths and extents you would go to in order to protect it. True love is determined by the lengths and extents you would go to in order to protect it. God loves it when we're protective of our relationship with him. Don't let anyone or anything damper or constrain your time with the King. This is not just a love in your life. This is the love of your life. She said, don't wake him up. This is not just a love for me. This is the love of my life. And God is not just a love in your life. He is to be the love of your life. Protect that. You have searched your whole life to find this love. You've searched your whole life to find someone that doesn't tire of you, that sees you for who you are, that is always there for you, that doesn't judge you, that's protective of you, that cares about even the smallest little things, that knows you inside and out, right? I mean, that's what we look at, right? You found him. His name is God. Now protect it. If you don't feel very involved with God in your life, go back to what you're doing. It may be that you have been so unprotective of your time with him. Everything else has taken a priority. Netflix takes over God. Think about this. If the people in your life, if you told them, don't talk to me because Netflix is more important to me than you are, they wouldn't hang around very often. Yet we have no problem doing that to the King. It's time to get protective of him. It's time to get protective of who he is to us. Man, you don't let people talk about someone in a bad way around you that you're protective about. You don't let anyone criticize people in your life that you love. You protect that. This is not just a love. This is the love of your life. And it matters. It should matter how people talk about the love of your life around you. It should matter to you how people describe the love of your life around you. It should matter to you the types of things that are done for the love of your life. It should matter to you how they treat the love of your life. Here's my question to you. What lengths are you willing to go to in order to protect your relationship with God? Is it worth it to you to maybe get up earlier in the day to spend time with Him? Is it worth it to you to maybe turn off the show that you're watching? Is it worth it to you to put down Facebook? Is it worth it to you to put down Instagram and, I don't know. What lengths would you go to? Is it worth it to take a walk with Him in the afternoon, if you can? Or find a quiet spot, or just sort of push away from your desk if you can't really get out anywhere, and just take some time and talk to Him. Besides just griping or complaining or venting at Him for all the things that you didn't feel like He did right, is it worth it to you to protect that relationship and that love enough to just stop what you're doing? Just say, man, I miss you. Man, I love you. Man, I love to see you in my life today. I love to experience you today. I love to be a part today. I want to do something with you today. What are we going to do today, God? What are we going to do? What can we see today? Would you open my eyes? Let's go for a walk and open my eyes and let me see some things today that you want me to see. Let me hear some things that you want me to hear. Open my ears and my understanding to the things that you're trying to speak to me today. Let me have that today. Protect that relationship. Man, don't let anything come in between that. This is your relationship with the King. Don't let anybody else take that and treat that badly. Don't let anyone disrespect that relationship. That's yours. Hold on to it. Keep it tight. Keep it fresh. Keep it exciting with God. Keep that relationship, that dialogue open. It's not just the love of a love in your life, it's the love. It's the love of your life. Treat it like it. That is day number 32. Now, Song of Solomon is flashbacks. It flashbacks and flash forwards. And so when we look at day 33 coming up here, you're going to see a flash forward here where she goes into the village. She goes back to where she came from and initially. And when you see this, it's going to resonate with a lot of us, because a lot of us, we have a past, and we have people in our past and that knew us back when we were, whatever, before we met Christ, or even when we didn't know Christ. Maybe back in the day, before we were matured up a little bit, there's people that knew us, and now she goes back now, and she's not going back as the shepherd girl. You got to see this next episode. We talk about what happened to you. We're going to talk about something that comes out to her that just it blows people away, but her response is what you got to see. That's coming up next. Have a fantastic day. We'll talk at you later. Bye-bye now.